My name is Abby Maloney, and this is Invest Insights, where we bring you thought leaders who are shaping our communities today. In today's episode, I speak with James Davidson, the chairman and CEO of Coral Gables Trust, based in Miami, Florida. James, not too long ago, we had the pleasure of meeting with you for our annual report, Invest Miami. And in that interview, you discussed how the firm was founded to fill a void of a shortage of institutional investment options for smaller portfolios, and that your belief is that those relatively smaller investors should have access to the same world-class managers that large accounts can access through larger firms. In economic crisis situations like the one that we are in right now, how important will it be for firms like Coral Gables Trust to be in an uncertain economic future?
Well, that's a very good question, and we've been living through this since the pandemic started. And so I think our clients benefit by the fact that individual investors tend to be very emotional, and so, you know, can just want to sell out at the bottom. That's what typically do, rather than have no fear to weather the storm, and they don't know when to take a profit, other times, whatever. And then we find people in general are best to have a financial manager, somebody that really is expert, follows it day by day. If you try to do it just on the fly, people just don't really have a big interest in it. Most people would rather be playing golf or doing fun things to them. So it's best in tough times to have the experience to live through these things. And it's also important to have a portfolio that's well diversified. And we're a trust company, and so we're more about capital preservation for our clients than we are for making them a lot of money. Most of the clients come with a certain net worth, and so we work with them to grow it carefully, but not to, become rich. They always come in generally, and they have some amount of wealth. So it's that to have a good portfolio, and then it's important to have the clients understand where they're going with their financial plans, and they have comfort in it. So we always work with our clients first to put together a financial plan for, carry them for the rest of their life, so that in retirement they have funds. And so I think generally we found during the pandemic that we got very few calls from clients. They had confidence in what we had set up, and they knew the risk tolerances that were there and whatnot. And so we had very few calls, people panicking.
That's good to hear. Over the years, many business owners, hedge fund managers, private equity firms outside of Florida moved to the state to benefit from its tax landscape, and many of them settle here in South Florida. The pandemic is only expected to fuel this immigration significantly. What is expected in terms of the impact of this greater influx of capital to your business, and how have you prepared your operations to handle it all?
Yeah. Well, we saw this coming with the high tax states in the Northeast. And so earlier this year, well, it's back in June, I believe, we worked with the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we put together a virtual panel to talk to people, and it was oversubscribed actually, about if you're considering moving down from a high tax state, here's how you should become a resident from a tax point of view and other things. So we talked about the fact that, you better, if you're moving down here and establish residency, you better pick a new vet for your pet here in Florida rather than keep the one in New York, or the tax authorities. That's one of the things on their checklist. And also your investment advisor, you'd be well advised to have a advisor down here. How we benefit from it, I think, is the people that are moving down here with the PE firms, hedge funds and whatnot. They have clients, they don't have the trust capabilities. So we do trust in the states. And so for their clients, they manage some money for their clients or themselves, but they better think about switching their trust advisor, and should in Florida, because laws are different here than in other states. And so we have already picked up business on the trust side from that aspect of it, and some accounts where we manage the funds, but people, build relationships with their financial managers, and so it takes time to overcome that. So we're not expecting a big influx of funds, but gradual over time pick up, and we're well prepared to handle it.
How is Coral Gables Trust using the lessons learned from this pandemic to advise clients on how to protect themselves currently during this economic downturn and how that might affect them in future economic downturns?
Mhm. Well, we, like I say, we tried to and have gotten in touch with all of our clients on a regular basis. Just how are you doing through this difficult time, and anything we can do to help you. So we've been very proactive in making calls, and we're open for their calls 24/7. And we've actually picked up some business because maybe some other firms are not used to dealing with their employees being working remotely, and they haven't been attentive to clients. Where we've been, I have a rule, you must call a client at least every 2 to 3, 4 weeks and just stay in touch with them, talk to them how they're doing, and build that relationship. So like I said earlier, we have, every client has a financial plan and a portfolio custom tailored to their needs to take them through retirement. And so generally we try to keep our clients very comfortable so they don't panic in times like this. So.
And how has the evolving tech landscape influenced your approach as it pertains to financial and investment services?
Well, on one side from operations, we live in an area where we have, unfriendly visits from hurricanes frequently. So we're ready to work remotely, and that was just, not a big deal for us to make that change. On the investing side, we stick with diversified portfolios, growth stocks, value stocks. People like some like more fixed income ingredients, and others international flavor, whatnot. So we try to have a balance that will take through up times and bad times, because haven't found anybody yet that can ever call the bottom or call the top. And in this environment, it's been good to have some technology in it, because the FANG stocks have accounted for over 25% of the value of the S&P index. And then smaller companies that serve services at home, like Zoom and others, have been very hot as they can be, as well as small software companies. So we have some of those in the client, but one day the valuations are going to be such that they're going to come down to ground level. And so that's when the other stocks, the consumer discretionary stocks, the basic industrial stocks, will have their day in the sun.
In running this series with Invest Insights, I get to speak to a lot of different CEOs from all different backgrounds, different locations, different industries. And I think the one thing that everyone can agree on is that 2020 is a year like none other, and has presented unique challenges that a lot of people were not anticipating. What have these past number of months taught you about resilience?
Well, I think it's, two things, sort of on the physical level. Did people have did they keep their job? Did they have the income they need to get through these tough times? Have they adjusted well to maybe having to work remotely, or, cook at home all the time, or take out, as opposed to going out to restaurants and fun places? So that's the physical side of it. But I think the mental side, it's been very tough on people in many ways. The lockdown, the kids. My older daughter is a psychologist in the Nashville school system, and she said she's never had kids so upset, messed up. Many of them discussing that they had thought about suicide. So you've got that side of the school kids, and then just people, you stay locked up in their house and don't have contact with people, and constant worry. The pandemic, of course, we've had the riots, and God forbid if you were actually in one of those cities and dealing with it. But every night there's no good news; it's all bad news. And then the looming election, and people worrying about that from one viewpoint or another. 2020 will go down in history as a very troubling year, and a traumatic, stressful year for everybody. So I think everybody would be happy to say goodbye 2020. Let's move to a new year.
Well, thank you again. That was James Davidson, the chairman and CEO of Coral Gables Trust. My name is Abby Maloney, and you've been watching Invest Insights. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everyone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date on the latest business trends from our knowledgeable experts. Be sure to check out the description below for more information on the segment you just watched. Thanks for tuning in.